Can the West Virginia Mountaineers shock the college football world and cause chaos in the Big 12 and even in the college football playoff picture? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this edition of the Gold and Blue Breakdown Show. That's right, a solo edition of the Gold and Blue Breakdown Show, as I'll give you the keys to a Mountaineer victory, as well as other breakdowns for this game. Just give you my thoughts, including my score prediction at the end. So stick around and we'll have that conversation right after this. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top shelf college sports news and analysis surrounding the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Yes, I'm alone in this show. For those of you who normally watch this show, you know my co-host Jonathan normally joins me for this show. He's unable to do that for this week, and I wanted to get this video out to you all before Thanksgiving, so here I am doing it solo. And before we dive into the three keys and the two position battles and the key player and the score prediction, which is what we do here, I want to give you kind of the rundown of this game. Obviously, the game is in Morgantown, so Texas Tech is coming to Morgantown for this game. It's expected to be somewhat chilly, probably in the low 40s around game time, maybe mid 40s. Overcast. Don't see a very high chance of rain in forecast, at least not right now. The game is obviously this Saturday, November the 29th. It will kick off at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Will air on ESPN. And when you look at the spread, the odds over at DraftKings Sportsbook, as you will see here, as I shared on the screen, West Virginia is a massive underdog. 23.5-point underdog, as a matter of fact, as you see it right here on your screen. The over-under on the game is 53.5 right now, according to DraftKings, with the money line being minus 1650 for Texas Tech and plus 950 for the Mountaineers. If you want to place a bet on that game or any other game for that matter, go check out our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. And later on in the show, I'll let you know about a special they're having right now for Thanksgiving. But that is a spread, and of course, odds are subject to change. Now, let's go ahead and dive in to the three keys of the game for the Mountaineers. For the Mountaineers to pull off a victory in this game, this is what it's going to take, in my opinion. First of all, West Virginia has to be motivated. Will they be motivated? There's not a lot riding on the game for the Mountaineers. They're 4-7. Even a win does not put them bowl eligible, so they're not going to make a bowl game. And on the other hand, you have Texas Tech coming in, and if they win the game, now they could actually clinch a Big 12 title based on what happens in Friday night's games in the Big 12. However, they still have a college football playoff spot they want to play for, right? Even if they don't win the Big 12, they still might have a shot of getting in the CFP. So they have a lot to play for. West Virginia doesn't really. So will the Mountaineers be motivated? Now, Coach Rodriguez talks about, playing for the 40 seniors on the team, their last time out there, to play hard for them and for them to obviously go out with a win. Talks about playing for the state, pulling off, and, they could pull off one of the biggest wins in program history in this game. If they're able to go out and pull this game off and upset a top 5 team, it would be huge. It would be a huge momentum builder going into the offseason, could even potentially help recruiting. It would be a positive momentum swing for the whole program, including the fan base. Just a great way to finish off the season. And it would go down as one of the biggest wins in program history. So, biggest upsets anyway. So, they still have some stuff to play for, at least according to the coaching staff. But how will the players respond to that, right? Obviously, the crowd could play a factor. We don't expect there to be a huge crowd in this game. It's Thanksgiving weekend. It's hunting season. The weather's going to be cold. The students are gone. So most of them won't be there. Long story short, it won't be packed out like it has been in previous weeks. At least low likelihood of that happening. So that could be a factor as well. But if the Mountaineers could come out motivated, have something, play for pride in themselves and the state. Obviously, you want to put something on film if you want to play at the next level. For the underclassmen, you want to put something on tape for next year, right? Whether you're going to the portal or not. You want to make more money. All that matters. Will they still go out there? I think they will. I think Coach Rod is really good at motivating his guys. I think they will go out there ready to play. Will that be enough? Not sure, but if you don't at least go out there motivated and ready to play, you're going to get your doors blown off. All right. Second key to victory for the Mountaineers, to me, limit the big plays. That's been the defense. Limit the big plays on defense. That's been a huge factor in several games this year. The Mountaineers have given up a ton of big plays. That is what this Texas Tech team thrives on. When you look at their stats, they are 8th in the country in plays of 10-plus yards. They are 3rd in the country in plays of 20-plus yards and 5th in the country in plays of 30-plus yards. So they live on big plays, whether it be in the run game or whether it be in the pass game led by quarterback Baron Morton. Big plays are what they thrive on. So it'll be interesting to see how the West Virginia defense responds, and can they limit those big plays by this Texas Tech offense who loves to play fast, just like probably don't play quite as fast as West Virginia likes to play, but they do like to play fast nonetheless. I don't think West Virginia have an issue handling the tempo, but can they stop the big plays? That's a huge question mark. If they don't, they won't win the game. Third factor for me is turnovers. In order for West Virginia to win the game, they have got to force Texas Tech into some turnovers. Now, they might be able to do that. It's the one area the West Virginia defense has done well at this season, or one of the areas. Right now, Texas Tech is averaging 1.2 giveaways a game, which is 53rd in the country. Conversely, West Virginia's defense is forcing 1.6 turnovers a game, or getting 1.6 takeaways a game, which is number 32 in the country. Can they force Baron Morton into an interception or two? Can they force some fumbles? Can they win the turnover battle by 2 or 3? Probably is what it's going to take, in my opinion. When you look at the talent difference between these two teams, it's going to take probably a turnover differential of at least 2 for West Virginia to win this game, in my opinion. So they need to force some turnovers. Obviously, that means the offense also has to protect the football. Texas Tech is really good at turning their opponents over too, so that's not going to be easy. They're one of the top teams in the country in turning their opponents over. So it won't be easy to do, but West Virginia has to protect the football, and the defense has to force turnovers and steal a couple extra possessions, and you have to score touchdowns. I didn't really write this down, but that's going to be another key. It'll surprise me if West Virginia doesn't go for it unless they're extremely deep in their own territory. They may go for it on every 4th down in this game, because you're not winning this game with field goals. I didn't put scoring in the red zone down. Probably another. There's 100 key factors you could talk about. These are just my top 3. But you have to get some extra possessions in this game if you want to have a chance to win. Now, let's go ahead and hop over to the 2 key position battles that I'm interested in watching for the Mountaineers. Texas Tech, or the West Virginia O-line, rather, versus the Texas Tech D-line. I know that's Captain Obvious. That's the Captain Obvious choice, right? But in this game, the trenches is going to be the utmost absolute importance. Texas Tech right now, who's also one of the best teams in the country, are number 4 in opponent yards per rush. So they're not allowing their opponents to run the football. They're also number 1 in the country in rush yards given up per game. So this defensive line is elite. They're playing extremely well right now. When you look at their PFF grades, 96.7 overall defensive grade, 95.8 run defense grade, and a 91.7 tackle grade. So they're not going to – and West Virginia is down to like their 5th string running back at this point. Jaheim White's out for the year. We already knew that. We knew about Ty Edwards being out for the year. Now Dior Hubbard is out for this game. So it's down to Sincere Bowers. Clay Ash may get some snaps. Maybe Tyler Jackledge, the freshman who came in, or the young player, rather, who came in during fall camp, who hasn't seen a lot of playing time and who's also battled injuries of his own. He may get some snaps. Curtis Jones is going to likely see more snaps at running back in this game, who they converted from the bandit position, the defensive side of the ball, into running back. He's likely going to get – they're down to their 4th, 5th, 6th – I don't even know what you call it – string running back and a defensive player against a team who has the top rushing defense in the country. That does not bode well for West Virginia, which we'll touch more on that later on what that means for this West Virginia offense. But it's going to be a huge, huge task for this West Virginia offensive line that has struggled for much of the year, who is especially in the run game. Right now, West Virginia's offense run blocking is only grading out at a 51.1 on the year. So that's that's going to be a huge, tall task for this offensive line to go up against one of the top defensive lines in the country. Look at the passing angle of this. The pass rush grade on this Texas Tech D line is 91.9. They have a player by the name of David Bailey who happens to lead the entire country in sacks with 12.5. He's a transfer from Stanford. They're going to have to block that guy. Can they do it? Now, the West Virginia's line has done better in pass blocking than run blocking. Their pass block grade on the year is 69.6. But again, the pass rush grade for Texas Tech is 91.9, which is one of the best in the country. And they're 11th in the country in sacks. So not only can they stop the run, they can also stop the pass with their elite pass rush led by David Bailey on the defensive line. So how's West Virginia going to be able to handle that stout D line of Texas Tech? You have to be determined. And we can't even, and even though he's not technically a D lineman, we'll just go ahead and talk about this Texas Tech front seven, and we have to talk about a guy named Jacob Rodriguez. He's 21st in the country in total tackles with 100, tied for 15th in the country in solo tackles with 55, tied for 10th in the country in interceptions with 4, he's 32nd in the country with 10 passes defended, and he's first in the country in forced fumbles with 7. Listen to that stat line again: 100 tackles, 55 solo, 4 interceptions, 10 passes defended, and 7 forced fumbles. Absolute stud middle linebacker in Jacob Rodriguez at Texas Tech. How does West Virginia handle him? What do they do? I'm not sure what you do. Rich Rod's going to have to figure out a way to scheme around him. As far as they're probably going to have to scheme up a lot of quick plays in the pass game, a lot of quick screens. This Texas Tech defense is elite, especially that front seven. How does West Virginia handle them? It'll be interesting to see. Now, the second most important position battle to watch to me is still in the trenches, but we're flipping sides of the ball. It's West Virginia's D-line against the Texas Tech O-line. Number one, can West Virginia limit Cameron Dickey in the run game? Right now, Cameron Dickey has run for 944 yards on the season, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. They also have Jacoby Williams, another running back for Texas Tech who gets a lot of carries, averaging 5.8 yards per carry and 647 yards rushing. And they will use both of these guys, and both very talented. Obviously, Dickey's on the verge of hitting that 1,000-yard mark. I'm sure Coach Alley's talking up his guys, hey, let's stop him from getting 1,000 yards this game. Can you limit him in the run game? It's going to be critical here. In order to do that, your D-line has to play well, plug those gaps. The linebackers do as well, but right now we're focusing on the D-line. Also, when you look at Baron Morton and what he likes to do, West Virginia needs to get pressure on him, but they need to do it without bringing the blitz. And here's why. When Baron Morton is under pressure but not blitzed, his PFF grade is 47. His PFF pass grade is 48.2. When he is blitzed, it's 71. He's completing 55.1% of his passes when blitzed, 54.5% when under pressure and not blitzed. He's thrown 2 interceptions and only 1 touchdown when under pressure and not blitzed. He also holds on to the ball a lot longer, 3.31 seconds when he's under pressure but not blitzed. So he does a really good job of getting rid of the ball quickly when he's blitzed. Proof of that, you look at opposing teams and their pressure to sack percentage. This is a stat that PFF looks at. How many times a team gets pressure versus how many times they actually get a quarterback sack. Opposing teams are only getting sacks on 14% of the pressures when blitzing. However, they are getting 24.2%, getting sacks 24.2% of the time when pressuring but not blitzing. So they're actually having better success getting to Baron Morton when they don't blitz because he doesn't get rid of the ball as fast. And I think that's very important in this game. You don't want to you want to be able to get pressure on him without blitzing. And who's that up to? Those 4 guys up front. Your 3D lineman and your bandit. Eddie Kelly, Eddie Vestorinen, Devin Grant, Hammond Russell, if he plays. Jamoy Robinson coming off the edge needs to have a good game. Or Curtis Jones or whoever plays that spot. Braden Siders. They all need to have a really good game and try to get pressure on Baron Morton when he does drop back to pass without having to bring too many exotic blitzes, because if you do that, he's liable to pick you apart, in my opinion. All right. Next thing we're going to get to is my one key player to watch for West Virginia. But before we do that, though, I want to give another shout out to our sponsor, the fine folks over at DraftKings. Let them tell you about a special they have going on right now for Thanksgiving. Do you know about the 3 T's of Thanksgiving? Turkey for eating, table for gathering, and touchdowns for winning. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in before dessert. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action's in your hands. First touchdown, anytime TD, live bets. Every play, every snap, every game counts. When the games get good, the bets get better. Here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code COUZ. That's code COUZ. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. All right, thank you for letting me get through the housekeeping and pay the bills, and thanks to DraftKings for supporting our worker on the show. Next thing we're going to get to is the one key West Virginia player to watch in this game, and this is, again, it's kind of Captain Obvious here, but it's Scotty Fox. More than likely, Texas Tech is going to heat up Scotty Fox in this game. West Virginia's likely not going to be able to run the football because of what I talked about earlier. Texas Tech's run defense is elite. Now, their pass defense isn't terrible either, don't get me wrong, but their run defense is elite. And they're likely going to get – West Virginia's O-line has struggled. They're likely not going to be able to run the football, which means Scotty Fox is likely going to have to throw the ball a lot in this game, especially if West Virginia gets down early. So, as a true freshman, how will he handle the pressure? How will he handle – first of all, playing against a team of this caliber in the moment, how will he handle the moment? I mean, they have nothing to lose in the game, but for his own personal play, it matters, right? He wants to carry momentum into the next season and hopefully, earn himself a hard look at the starting job next year. Maybe he wants to prevent Coach Rod from bringing in a quarterback out of the portal. Well, if he goes out and plays really good in this game, it might help with that case. So how will he handle the pressure from this elite Texas Tech defense? That's going to be critical to see in this game with Scotty Fox. And then finally, score prediction time. How do I think this game ends up? Well, at the end of the day, what do they say? It comes down to the Jimmies and the Joes, not the X's and the O's. Texas Tech has a lot more talented Jimmies and Joes, in my opinion, than West Virginia. The talent level is just different. It's just different. A lot more 5-star guys on Texas Tech's roster. A lot more 4-star guys on Texas Tech's roster. A lot less no-star guys on Texas Tech's roster. So they have the better players. They have a more continuity on their staff. They have more guys who have played in the program, like Baron Morton and Jacob Rodriguez and a lot of others. So they have tons of advantage here. They have a lot to play for, a spot in the Big 12 title game and a spot in the CFP. Try to go out and win Texas Tech's first national championship in program history. That's what they're playing for. Whereas, on the other hand, West Virginia, they're playing for a 5-7 season and pride. And I just don't think that's enough. I'm not sure anything would be enough. West Virginia's going to have the ball bounce their way in this game. They're going to have some good fortune. They're going to have to stay injury free. They're going to have to force multiple turnovers, not turn the ball over, probably make a few plays on special teams, maybe a kick return touchdown or a punt return touchdown, or have Texas Tech maybe muff a punt, something in order to win this game. And the chances of all that happening, or most of that happening, is slim to none, in my opinion, especially with good weather, which it's supposed to be in Morgantown on Saturday. So I just don't see how West Virginia wins the game. I don't think they'll get blown out necessarily, and I think they'll play hard. I think they'll put forth good effort, but I just think Texas Tech's too good of a football team. I think at the end of the day, Texas Tech wins the game 37-20. I think West Virginia keeps it close for maybe the first quarter or two, but I think Texas Tech's just going to pull away in this game at some point. The talent is going to, it's going to be too much for West Virginia to overcome. They're not going to be able to keep the game close, and Texas Tech's going to pull away and win it 37-20. They go to 11-1 on the season, clinch a spot in the Big 12 championship game, and potentially a spot in the college football playoff. Let me know your score prediction in the comments section. I want to hear your thoughts. What are your keys to victory? And who do you think is important in this game from a position standpoint and a player standpoint for the Mountaineers? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. I also want to remind you to please hit the thumbs up button if you like this content. Please be sure to share it with your family and friends. Please subscribe to the channel. All that's free to do. You'll see buttons below that say subscribe. You'll see the thumbs up button. Both of those are free, quick, easy. You can hit it with your remote on the television, your finger on a mobile device, or your mouse on the computer. Again, it's free and easy. So please support me that way. It all helps that algorithm, helps my channel get pushed out to more people, and lets YouTube know that, hey, this Couz guy, he's pretty good. I like him. Please let them know that for me. I really appreciate you tuning in. Also, quick though, I want to shout out Appalachia Digital, the fine folks who designed our website over at WVSportsChat.com. If you need a new website or you want to help your current site get found easier on Google, go to AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. Let them know I sent you, and they will take care of your needs as far as your website. And I also want to thank them for supporting what we do here on the show and what we're doing over at WVSportsChat.com. I appreciate you tuning into this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on podcast. By the way, if you are listening, please leave us a 5-star review and please follow us. It really helps out as well. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. God bless you. And as always, Q Country Roads.